A few months ago, I made a video focusing on the darkest moments from each Digidestined from Digimon Adventure. Well, the main cast anyway. I found it to be a very interesting topic of discussion for Digimon Adventure. Despite being a series primarily targeted towards children, I think we can all agree that Digimon is pretty well known for having its fair share of dark or disturbing moments throughout the series. Digimon Tamers is probably one of the best, but also one of the most depressing stories from the Digimon franchise. It's not all doom and gloom, but man, this series is dark. The tone is so much more serious, especially when compared to Digimon Adventure. So needless to say, I think we are in for a very interesting video today. Guys, I'm going to be looking at every Tamer from Digimon Tamers and discussing what I believe to be their darkest moment is throughout the series. So of course, our first character we will be talking about is Takato. Oh boy, we are already going to be talking about one of the most significant moments throughout all of Digimon Tamers. Episodes 34, 35, and 36. The last few episodes, Takato, Henry, and Terriermon have been separated from the rest of the group. Henry's little sister Suzie has recently become a Tamer, and before they can reunite with everyone else, Beelzemon shows up. At this point in time, Terriermon is the only Digimon capable of digivolving and actually trying to fight Beelzemon. It goes as well as expected. Beelzemon is a powerful mega level Digimon. Fortunately, the rest of the gang are able to reunite and join the fight. Beelzemon comes real close to destroying Cubimon, but then Leomon intervenes, and well, I think we all remember what happens next. Beelzemon murders Leomon. I think we're going to be coming back to this scene later on in the video, but focusing on Takato, this puts him and Growlmon, rightfully so, in a fit of rage. Takato doesn't care anymore. He wants Beelzemon gone. He wants him dead. Growlmon digivolves to War Growlmon, but Beelzemon is still too strong. So what does Takato do? He demands War Growlmon digivolve. We discussed this in the Digimon Adventure video with Tai. Forcing a digivolution never goes well. War Growlmon digivolves into Megidramon, one of the scariest but also one of the best looking Digimon designs I've ever seen in the franchise. Megidramon makes for a great Digimon partner in Cyber Sleuth, that's for sure. The personality of Guillamon seems to have just faded away. Megidramon is just a mindless, angry beast with one goal in mind: to destroy Beelzemon. My only complaint with this scene is Takato immediately regrets what he's done when Megidramon appeared. In my opinion, I think it would have been even better and even darker if Takato at first glance didn't see this as an issue. I think it would have been better if Takato saw Megidramon and was just like, yes, finally, we have a Mega Digimon. Beelzemon, prepare yourself. And it's only after seeing Megidramon go on the attack, maybe he also attacks some of the other Digimon as well, or just seeing how violent he is when fighting Beelzemon, and then also seeing the reactions that Jeri, Rika, Henry, and the other characters have, is when Takato finally starts to realize that the Guillamon he knew isn't what is currently fighting Beelzemon. That is some other digital monster attacking Beelzemon right now. Guillamon's not there. Despite that though, it goes without saying, I think this is still Takato's darkest moment in the series. But it doesn't even stop when Megidramon de-digivolves back to Guillamon. Sure, it's meant to be a great, heroic, positive moment with Takato and Guillamon first biomerging, forming Gallantmon for the first time and fighting Beelzemon. But let's not forget, even during this fight, and towards the conclusion of the fight, Guillamon, and more importantly Takato, as Gallantmon, was willing to destroy Beelzemon. They still wanted to kill Beelzemon. They still wanted to take him out. It's only because of Jeri intervening that Beelzemon is able to walk away alive. So Henry is an interesting case for a video like this. I have two contenders for Henry's darkest moment. The first comes from episode 37. During the previous episode, when Gallantmon was fighting Beelzemon, Terriermon got injured protecting Suzie. With Jeri being depressed, Kazu and Kenta decides to stay behind with her, while the others were planning to move off to meet with Chuchaomon. Lotmon has to go with the main trio, resulting in Suzie wanting to tag along. Henry doesn't want her to come because he thinks it's too dangerous. When Suzie insists on trying to come with the others, Henry almost hits her? Like, wow, that is an intense moment that I was not expecting to see from Henry. Henry is more determined than ever to just get this out of the way so that he can get Suzie back home. So much so that he neglects the rest of the team, pushing Terriermon to fight on immediately when usually Henry would be the one to try and avoid the fight. It's only after realizing that Terriermon didn't recover from his previous injuries, and with a little talk from Takato and Rika, for him to realize that he's been a bit of a jerk. The other darkest moment is complicated. Two things. One, I feel like choosing this for any character is kind of like the cop-out answer for the darkest moment for each Tamer in the series, because, well, Tamer's ending is a punch straight through the heart. However, I feel like it's worth talking about something that the English dub did to this ending that made it even more depressing, specifically for Henry. And this is really surprising to me. So, after the emotional ending of the Digimon and Tamers being forced to say goodbye to each other, as if that wasn't heartbreaking enough to see the Digimon slowly de-digivolve, Henry's dad explaining that if they don't go back to the digital world, they'll just disappear forever. And also the fact that Henry's father knew that this was going to happen ever since they inserted the Juggernaut program into Terriermon to fight the D-Reaper. In the Japanese version of this ending, Henry's father has no dialogue when we cut to the scene of Henry looking at his dad and shaking his head. That was supposed to signify that Henry is forgiven his father for what he did that is resulting in the Digimon being forced to leave in the first place. The English dub decides to make this even more depressing by having dialogue from Henry's father, and I think I'm just gonna let it play.
I know it hurts now, son, but in time, it'll get better. You'll see.
You know, usually I'm used to the English dub of an anime trying to make a scene less depressing or censor it in some other way to make it quote-unquote more appropriate. But in this instance, the English dub is the one that decides to make things even darker. In the early episodes, Rika was almost pretty much kind of our main antagonist. In these early episodes, she still looks at it as a game. She wants to get stronger. Renamon wants to get stronger. How do they get stronger? They need to destroy and absorb the data of other Digimon, and that is what they do throughout the early episodes. Rika even has Renamon attack Takato and Henry on multiple occasions. This is a similar situation with Ken, when I could just simply say that these early episodes are the answer to Rika's darkest moment in the series. Just her being antagonistic, not fully realizing that Digimon are living creatures, and all Rika cares about is getting Renamon to finally digivolve into the champion form. At the end of episode 10, she claims to hate Digimon after everything she went through during that episode, and tries to even give up the whole thing and abandons Renamon as her partner. I gotta say guys, I don't think her darkest moment in the series has anything to do with these early episodes. As a matter of fact, I think her darkest moment from the series comes from the Tamers movie, Runaway Locomon. We don't get to see much of this on screen, but I'm gonna go and say Rika's darkest moment in the series is the way she handles the fact that her dad just isn't around. We don't know much about her father. He gets mentioned once in the main show, and then during this movie, the main plot is all about Rika's birthday and how she doesn't want a birthday party at all. But of course, Takato, Henry, Jeri, etc. decides to throw her one anyway. She makes it clear throughout the movie that she does not want a birthday party at all, but towards the end, she does come around. And here's the kicker. Here's where we actually talk about the dark moment here. Why doesn't Rika want a birthday party? Rika didn't want a birthday party because deep down, she knew that her dad wouldn't show. If she had a birthday party, everyone would be there except for the one person she wants there the most, and that is her dad. At least that's what I interpret from what little we do know about Rika's relationship with her father. We really don't know enough about Rika's dad, but I think this can still go down as Rika's darkest moment in the series. Just the fact that she knows she doesn't get to see her father often. I'm willing to bet her dad has never shown up to any of her birthdays. Hell, you think that with what was happening with the D-Reaper in the main story, her father would have at least made like a phone call or text message appearance. Oh dear, where do I even begin? This poor girl goes through it, man. She didn't deserve any of this. Why did they decide to do this to this girl? Jeri was such a sweet girl at the start of Tamers. If there's one thing I always dread about rewatching Digimon Tamers, is the reminder that the further I go, the further I have to see this poor girl suffer. So during the, let's say, Deva arc of the show, Jeri has started collecting the cards. She wants to become a tamer, she wants to help out, she wants to have her own Digimon partner. In episode 21, Jeri's quest, she almost gets just that. She meets Leomon, Leomon helps defeat one of the Devas, and during that fight, Jeri tried to use Takato's Digivice to Digimodify to help Leomon, believing that she can be Leomon's partner. It doesn't work out, and poor Jeri falls to tears as Leomon leaves after defeating the Deva. This is only the beginning. She gets to become a tamer a few episodes later, joins the rest of the team, going into the digital world to try and save Calamon. And remember, I said this during Takato's segment that I'm going to be coming back to a certain episode. Beelzemon kills Leomon. I went over what's going on during Takato's segment. We know what happens, we're familiar with this. This is probably the most memorable / heartbreaking Leomon death throughout the franchise. Jeri's completely destroyed at this point, so much so that she doesn't even want to see Beelzemon suffer or get hurt anymore. She's just tired of seeing the fighting. Nothing's gonna bring Leomon back, so what's the point? Beelzemon would then begin his redemption arc, rethinking his choices. Maybe he shouldn't have killed Leomon. Maybe he really shouldn't have killed Leomon. With Leomon gone, Jeri enters this such depressing, mentally broken state, and the D-Reaper takes total advantage of this. A D-Reaper agent disguised as Jeri returns to the human world with the others, with the intention of analysing and trying to understand humans, deciding whether or not they deserve to live, basically. So what's going on with the real Jeri? Where is she? What's happened to her? The D-Reaper has entered the human world, so is Jeri here? Is she still in the digital world? No, she's in the real world. She's currently trapped in a sphere of depression, and the D-Reaper is feeding off her negative emotions, becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. In episode 47, we learn that Jeri's mum died when she was at a very early age. We get this very messed up nightmare sequence. Seriously, this is probably one of the most disturbing things in any anime I've ever watched in my life. And I watched this stuff as a kid? How did I not get scarred by this? My favourite episode in Digimon Tamers is episode 48, Shadow of the Beast King. It's the episode where Beelzemon fully gets to show how hard he's trying to redeem himself and just at least save Jeri from the mess that she's in now. When Beelzemon performs Leomon's Fist of the Beast King, great moment, but Jeri completely freezes up.
You're not Leomon.
This line hits me every time I hear it, man. The delivery is so good. So Beelzemon failed, Jeri's still stuck, D-Reaper's still feeding off her negative emotions, the other characters aren't feeling all that great right now. During episode 49, Jeri believes that it's all her fault that this is happening, and even says things would be a lot better if she wasn't around. So while it all stems from Leomon being killed, the fact that it's reached this point in episode 48 where Jeri is saying stuff like this, and I dread to think what would have happened if Calamon wasn't in this scene right now. I think we have it. This is Jeri's darkest scene in the series. I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see Jeri being able to still laugh and smile at the end of this series. So, next character I'm talking about for this video is Ryo, our old friend, good pal Ryo, who's got a little bit of a confusing backstory, but we are just talking about the Tamers continuity here, so all the other stuff that comes with this character, we don't need to worry about that shit. I think Ryo's darkest moment is from the final episode. During it, Ryo convinces Rika as Sakuyamon to give him all of her energy and power as a Mega Digimon in order to defeat the D-Reaper agent that they were fighting during the last episode. This is a very risky move. Ryo is essentially absorbing the powers of one Mega while he's already a Mega Digimon, And it's acknowledged that Ryo may not survive. He's basically putting his own life at risk here. There's no guarantee that his human side, at least, will be able to handle that type of power. Fortunately, it works out, but he's completely exhausted after the fact. And of course, he's also put Rika at risk because she's completely used up her energy in order to make Ryo stronger in the first place. Okay, so now we have reached the point in the video where I'm reaching just for the sake of including these characters. Kazu's a character who doesn't really have any major dark moments throughout the series. Sure, he can be a bit of a jerk sometimes, and I think we can all agree that Kazu is clearly jealous of Takato being a tamer when he wasn't. And I bring this up because I noticed when Kazu became a tamer, from then on out, he never really insults any of the other characters in the show. Sure, he still has this cocky, confident attitude towards him, but I think it's clear that the main thing with Kazu was simply he was jealous when he wasn't a tamer and his friends were. So, for the sake of including him on this video, the darkest moment I have for Kazu is during episode 28. Kazu, Kenta and Rika have been separated from the others for a few episodes now. When a Megadramon attacks the group, Ryo and Cyberdramon shows up to save the day. Kazu and Kenta are completely fanboying over him. He's their hero. Rika, on the other hand, she seems to hate him. We learn that the main reason why Rika doesn't like Ryo is because Ryo defeated her during a Digimon tournament. Towards the end of the episode, Rika insults Ryo and Kazu decides to bring up the very battle that Rika lost against Ryo. Rika tries to brush it off and says that it doesn't bug her, but Kazu insists that this is why she's acting the way she is, which I guess he's not entirely wrong, but then Kazu says this.
Come on, you're just upset with Ryo because you came in second, but it's not his fault you played badly. Kazu?
After a bit more of a back and forth between Rika and Kazu, Ryo tries to defuse the situation, with Rika just deciding to walk away. Again, aside from being a bit of a jerk and jealous at times, Kazu hasn't really done any major dark moments or have any dark scenes during the show. This is the best I could give him. So I mentioned during Henry's segment that I feel like picking the final scene from the final episode is kind of a cop-out answer for darkest moment for any of these characters. But here's the problem. Kenta has no dark moments in this series. None whatsoever. I can't even make a stretch like I did with Kazu. I'm saying it as if it's a bad thing. But seriously, Kenta has no dark moments throughout the series. So for him, I am going to say it's the final episode, with Kenta being forced to say goodbye to Marine Angemon. While this is a tragic scene for every character involved, let's remember, Kenta and Marine Angemon, they were not partners for long. I don't know exactly how long the time period is from the D-Reaper entering the human world and the final episode where they're finally able to defeat the D-Reaper and save both the human and digital world. But at most, it must have been just a month, right? Kenta and Marine Angemon were only partners for at most 1 month, I want to say. Maybe if we want to be generous, 2 months before the events of the finale. Yeah, I've got nothing else. Suzie's darkest moment is also the final episode. Especially with being so much younger than Henry and the other characters. She probably didn't even completely understand what was happening or why the Digimon had to leave. It's a good thing they came back after the events of this ending. I feel like Suzie would have grown up to be a emotional wreck if she never got to reunite with Lockmon and Terriermon. The last 2 characters I'm going to talk about in this video are Ai and Mako. We have a simple answer for the darkest moments for these 2 in the series: the way they treated Impmon. Brother and sister fighting over toys. Impmon is their favourite, so they fight for him. Which one gets to play with Impmon? Which side should Impmon take? Well, he can only have one, he can't have both. That's basically what the kids would put Impmon through, forcing him to choose sides, and the 2 kids fighting over him. If Ai and Mako never argued or did anything that resulted in Impmon leaving, the entire event of Digimon Tamers would have been avoided, or, well, more accurately, would have been completely different. Seriously, if Impmon never left, he wouldn't be the way he was when we're first introduced to him. He may not have even met the other Tamers and Digimon until much later in the story. He likely wouldn't have made a deal with the Sovereign to digivolve into Beelzemon, and he wouldn't have killed Leomon. Oh, we're back to that again, aren't we? So wait, that means if I and Mako was nice to Impmon, everything with Jeri and Leomon and the D-Reaper wouldn't have happened. I and Mako are truly the darkest characters and most evil characters in this story. They really are responsible for everything that played out. So that was the darkest moment from each Tamer in Digimon Tamers. To be honest guys, I think everyone's darkest moment in the series is simply the ending scene from the final episode, but that wouldn't have made for an entertaining video, would it? Fortunately, or unfortunately, as you may want to look at it, Takato, Henry, Rika, and especially Jeri, they go through a lot during Tamers. So I think in that regard it did make it a bit easier, but also more interesting to talk about the darkest moments from these characters with Tamers than it did with Digimon Adventure. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this interesting / depressing walk through Digimon Tamers with each character. Like Adventure, some of the characters don't really have a dark moment in the series, with the exception of, again, the Digimon Tamers ending. So I admit some of it is a bit of a reach. I look at you, Kazu. But I still hope you found enjoyment in this video. I found it interesting to make and thought it was still an interesting topic to discuss. So who knows, maybe I'll do this again dedicated to more characters from Digimon Adventure, or maybe Digimon Data Squad, or some other group from the Digimon franchise. I've got plenty to choose from. Or maybe I'll use this format to discuss characters from other media and other series. We'll just have to wait and see. Until next time guys, once again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.